He's got an interesting tip of a tail, this male. Really, really dark black, and not quite as fluffy as that of the other lions. It sort of makes me wonder if he didn't lose a little bit of it. Not the tip of the actual tip of the tail, but maybe just some of the fur. To me, there's just something a bit odd about it. And he looks to be the picture of contentment. And while we have a look at his restful face, albeit covered in scars, Nisa, you were wondering, would this male lion be a threat to a female leopard and cubs? Yes, a male lion is a threat to pretty much everything out here, including other male lions, and the females that they are not familiar with or unfamiliar with, and especially the cubs of females that they have not mated with. But for leopards in particular, luckily for them, they tend to be far more agile than the muscle-bound, rather large male lions. A male lion can't really, in any way, equal the leopard's tree climbing abilities, and even Karula's cubs, in fact especially Karula's cubs at their tiny age, would be able to get right out onto the thin branches of the trees, far out of his reach, which is why we feel a lot better about viewing them now that they're over 2 months old. They're now 4 months old, just because they have developed that coordination that they need in order to escape threats like this male lion. In my experience, Nisa, it's not really established dominant male lions that pose the most threat. From what I've seen, it's sub-adult male lions that tend to go out of their way more than the dominant male lions themselves to chase things like leopards. They have a curious streak, and they have quite it's almost like they're learning what their boundaries are, and they're far more interested in things like leopards, and they've got more energy to expend than these males do. So I've seen young sub-adult male lions chasing rhino and trying to hunt rhino, even though they had absolutely no chance of being successful in this particular case. I've seen them jump onto the back of fully grown rhino, almost like a training exercise. It was the Tsalala young males that chased Karula and Tingana not far at all from where we are now, a couple of months ago. I've seen them target tortoises far more frequently. It's almost like they need to get that learning out of the way, and that instinct runs really, really powerfully in them. A dominant male lion like this Birmingham boy will probably be a little bit more reluctant to waste the energy that he actually needs to patrol and to protect his territory. Now, having just seen the Matimba male lions not terribly long ago, it strikes me now in comparison, this is the first Birmingham boy I've seen since that sighting, strikes me just how small the Birmingham boys actually are. And I don't mean that, I mean in comparison to other male lions. Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to offend you. You're still very handsome. Yes, that's your tail. Shame. They are smaller. They are genetically much smaller lions than the Matimba males. But of course there are 4 of them. There were 5. There are now only 4 of them. An advantage in numbers is a huge thing in a male lion coalition. Here you go. Tucked himself up, and he's sort of curled up into a ball, and I think he looks smaller for his body posture as well. I think he's feeling a bit lonely. That Nkuhuma female that he was mating with, the young lioness, I don't think she was terribly impressed by his attentions. I know that Brent spoke a lot about the fact that it might have been false estrus for her, one of her first estrus cycles and one of her first experiences mating with a male. And he's now left to rejoin his buddies after, I think, what was a relatively unsuccessful week spent with a lady. Well, since our lion seems to be rather sleepy, I think it's time to go and have a look at a sleepy leopard, because we're just spoilt like that.